Hello and welcome. I'm a hotel AI expert, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you, the students of Europe Hotel School, to your online learning journey. We're here to support your professional growth in this amazing industry. You're all preparing to enter a world that really sells perfection. But what happens when the biggest threat to that perfection isn't something a guest ever sees? Today, we're going to break down the most critical skill you'll need as a leader: building communication frameworks that stop chaos before it even starts.
You know, when a guest walks into a truly world-class hotel, what they experience is seamless. It's effortless perfection. But behind that curtain, 1,000 things can go wrong at any given moment. And the biggest threats, well, they aren't a leaky faucet or a delayed room service tray.
No, the real risks are the invisible cracks in communication, the slight misinterpretation between the front desk and housekeeping, or that tiny disconnect between the events team and the kitchen. These are the frictions that can quietly sabotage the entire guest experience. So the big question for you as a leader is, how do you prevent them?
This quote just nails the problem perfectly. Inconsistent and reactive. What does that really mean? It means every single day is a firefight. You're just putting out fires, solving problems as they explode, instead of preventing them from happening in the first place. And that, of course, leads directly to confusion, wasted effort, and an inevitable breakdown in service.
So the solution isn't about telling people to work harder or communicate more. It's about building a system that is designed for clarity. To get from that operational chaos to a state of control, you absolutely have to implement a dedicated communication framework.
So what is a communication framework exactly? Well, think of it as the official rule book for how your teams interact. It's a deliberate, structured system that defines how information flows, when it's shared, and what needs to be said. It's all about making sure everyone is on the same page, working toward the same goals, and knowing exactly who is responsible for what.
But an effective framework is so much more than just a set of rules, right? It has to be built on a foundation of trust. And that trust is supported by 4 critical pillars that come together to create a reliable and really resilient operational structure.
So our framework is built on these 4 interconnected pillars: predictability, a shared language, clear accountability, and total transparency. Let's dive in and take a look at how each one of these actually works in practice. First up is predictability. Think of this as the rhythm of your entire operation. When your teams know exactly when the daily briefing is, how to read the end-of-day report, and who to call when there's an urgent issue, it just eliminates all the guesswork. That consistency, well, it builds deep operational trust and dramatically reduces that friction we were talking about.
Okay, so if predictability sets the rhythm, our second pillar makes sure everyone is playing the same tune, and that is shared language. Let's be honest, every department has its own jargon. Revenue management uses one set of metrics, food and beverage uses another. A shared language is what breaks down those silos and creates universal understanding.
And this illustrates the idea perfectly. Look, the revenue office might be totally obsessed with RevPAR and ADR, but that doesn't really mean much to the culinary team, does it? By translating that jargon into shared metrics that everyone gets, like guest satisfaction score or average spend per guest, you create goals that everyone understands and, more importantly, can actually contribute to. Our third pillar is accountability. A strong framework just removes all ambiguity. It clearly states who owns a task, what the deadline is, and what a successful outcome looks like. When responsibilities are laid out that clearly, follow-through isn't just expected, it becomes the cultural standard. And finally, we have transparency. This is all about making key information accessible to everyone. When every single team can see the progress we're making towards a shared goal, it fosters this amazing sense of collective ownership. The whole mindset shifts from "that's my job" to "this is our goal," and people start collaborating to solve problems before they can ever escalate.
Now, having these pillars in mind is one thing, but you need the right tools, and I think this is even more important, the right mindset to bring them to life. This is where technology and team norms form a really essential partnership.
Technology is the great enabler here. I'm talking about shared platforms like Slack or Microsoft Teams, real-time dashboards showing guest feedback as it comes in, and centralized reporting systems where everyone can find the single source of truth. These are the tools that make seamless communication possible, especially at scale.
But here is the crucial point. You can have the best, most expensive technology in the world, but it is basically useless if your teams don't agree on how to use it. These agreed-upon norms, the human element of the framework, are what turn a fancy new tool into a true powerhouse of collaboration.
So where does all of this lead?
Well, for a leader, putting a communication framework in place is nothing short of a transformation. It's that pivotal moment when you shift from constantly managing chaos to truly leading collaboration.
Just look at this contrast. It's so powerful. On the left, you have the amateur approach. It's informal, it's reactive, it's full of friction and inefficiency. And on the right, you have the professional's approach, a disciplined practice that creates predictability, clarity, trust, and alignment. That right there, that's the difference between a good hotel and a truly great one.
So in the end, a communication framework is so much more than just a management technique. It is the engine that drives a disciplined, high-performing culture. And mastering this skill is what separates the managers from the true leaders, and it is what defines a world-class hospitality operation. So I will leave you with this question. As you prepare to go out and lead your own teams, which path are you going to choose? Will it be the reactive chaos of informal communication, or will you build the disciplined practice that creates a world-class operation? The choice is entirely yours.